Grassroots Sessions.
We are the beggars with the mind to congeal. We didn't steal it, nor mistake it for a meal. Our flock is melodic, our crop is of love. Our bellies are harmless below and above. We are the beggars, our meadow alarmless. The dance of our ancestors heightens the charm. The rhythm of pattern has flattened the stone. Eternal by they say the consent of slaving, venting one's cage. Allegory of the cave is story of the age was made upon the page, but the book rots the blood, the clots is the ego of man. But to slap
your property, it
won't be long
was that get the
freedom song, freedom song, freedom song.
Human family,
Won't be long,
get the
freedom song, freedom song, freedom song. What's this mind? What's this time? How can a being not be designed when what we find is pure love? We're still discovering, and there's your government trying to keep up with everyone who's bothering. Because everyone is sovereign, could be swinging from a popular tree, but we still believe everyone can be free. We've been humming this heart strong melody upon this humblest song for millennium. It's still dead telling me pyramid energy, gentrified the feminist with the gentlest of remedies. Never known no economy, we come from one and we become taxonomy. Strange fruit plagues, our market landscapes, animals caged, rape, rat breaks. When the rage of the activist saves a victim, and the government wage a conviction. It's all on top of me, I can't think properly. They used to trade black people as property. Never been so ashamed to have Caucasian skin covering these veins. One in 4 generations, a black man is white, a white man is black. Now where the fuck we at when we're trying to justify unnecessary suffering and brutality, washing nationality, human race. And if you want to make the world a better place, take a look at yourself and make that change and stop.
your property, it
Won't be long,
was that get the
freedom song, freedom song, freedom song. Won't be long, freedom song, freedom song, freedom song. It's not your property, and we're asking you to philanthropically come together as one community. An opportunity for me and you to be here as equals among all peoples. Quash the echelons of posh. You can't buy freedom with these and dollars. Take your mind and soul off your payroll. Digging dark cages for gold and diamonds. And what do we do when we find them? Put them in a deeper cave of confinement. Immoral contracts out of alignment with the cycle of eco paper. See, people make you poison nature. Now wake up. We cannot bathe in toxins, but watch your profits rise as the well you unlocks in a work of fiction. riddled with a prediction of our own demise, kept by green infliction. We need to sit together in circle, hold hands, share the language of love and see purple. Rise out of the wise mouth that speaks the truth to you. Instead of the government lies out to trigger your instinct to fight back. Involves your bravery and pride, cause the right track is neither kill nor hide. Still have time to change the way we eat, change the way we live, to change the way we treat each other. Meet your mother and don't eat meat. If you love, let her know. I wasn't born poor, I wasn't born black, I wasn't born broke, but I'm turning my back on a nation waging colonial values. Yeah, and when I die, I'll be cremated, and my ashes will be scattered on the land unfated by a passport, flying through borders unthwarted, sailing on waters they taught us we couldn't afford. But look what death brought us. Remove your breath and your right to roam is your reward. Trademark genetics, copyright laws. Your body has a patent and your land has laws.
Hello, beautiful beings. Thank you so much for joining us on our grassroots sessions today. If you enjoyed today's song, please feel free to pop a quid in our virtual hat via the link below. And we just want to say a massive thank you to our amazing patrons for helping make these videos possible. If you'd like to become a patron of this channel, please check out the link below as well.
Yes, thank you. And today's song is called Freedom Songs. It is track 2 on our newest album, 2020 Vision, that we recorded last year. And
you can download it on our website.
You can indeed. And it's on Spotify and all the other online channels. And yeah, so the song is it's one of my favourites, I think. Like I love playing it. I love the message in it. It's a song that celebrates freedom for all beings, regardless of culture and creed. And it touches upon, you know, freedom for animals as well, makes those comparisons. And yeah, it's just, it's inspired by so many other songwriters, and especially songwriters that have direct lineage to the African slave trade. You know, it's a really difficult topic. And this song tries to pay homage to things I've learned from musicians like Nina Simone, who was very outspoken about civil rights movement as a musician, and Bob Marley, incredible songwriters like this whose lineage is from the transatlantic slave trade that happened between like the 16th and 19th centuries, which is really not that long ago. Like in terms of like how long people have been debating ethics and morals, like their ethics and morals are thousands of years old, and yet we, you know, still got people walking around with the scars of the most recent slave trades. And although since the 19th century it's been illegal to enslave people and use them as cargo, which is what they called the slaves, and when they're transporting them across the sea, and products and you know, property, although that's illegal, apparently slavery is rife today, which is incredible, because, you know, back then it was deemed acceptable and you could just look across and see slaves working in the fields in chains and whatnot, whereas today apparently it's even worse. And where is this hidden blanket hiding all the slavery from us? It really makes you think society is just built up of this advertising front, and behind it must be all this, you know, atrocious slavery of human beings. In 4 generations, a black man is white, a white man is black. Now where are we at when we're trying to justify unnecessary suffering and brutality? What's your nationality, human race? And if you want to make the world a better place, take a look at yourself and make a change. Michael Jackson quote there. And yeah, so it's just about how, you know, I mean, we have friends who you wouldn't know that their granddad is sat in Jamaica now with really dark skin, you know, a direct lineage from that transatlantic slave trade, but his grandson, who we know, is in England, and his generations have been living in England for many years, to the point where his skin colour is like mine and Katie's. So we're not aware of a lot of the lineage of who's come from slave trade. And I think, you know, to look back through history, there's, you know, we've probably all got so much DNA in us now, that like this mitochondrial Eve following back the root of all people. And it also, the chorus, you wrote the chorus, didn't you?
Oh yeah, because you were singing about property. You were singing it's not your property, and we're asking you to philanthropically.
That's right.
Singing about this, you know, like how society today is built on the labour and the work of others. So we might think that slavery is this thing in the past, but actually, like you say, it's very much ongoing. So people can go to Primark and buy a £2 jumper Where's that been made? Has that been made in sweatshops where people aren't being paid much? We can go in a supermarket and buy a load of food. Who's that being grown by?
Yeah.
You know, we've driven past these mass farms they're all under cover of plastic. Are there workers in there? How are they being treated?
It's
you know?
miles and miles and miles long,
Yeah,
these farms.
and all of
yeah,
these,
in Europe.
like you said, it's almost like the slaves of today are hidden from our eyes, and we don't even know where or who they are. You know, I think Nestle's just been done under a court deal for dealing with child slaves and the production of their chocolate.
It's
like
terrible.
absolutely atrocious. But
It's
I think
not.
that line, "It's not your property." I think again that was picking up on, because I'm listening to what Alex is rapping about with the idea of human slavery, and there's a few lyrics in there about animal slavery, and I think when I'm singing "It's not your property," I'm almost singing to the slave owner of yesterday and saying these beings are not your property. They literally sold and bought humans with deeds, and like, this is my slave now. I'm singing "It's not your property," but I'm also singing to the other beings that are owned and enslaved and sold as property in today. So the cattle of today, the cows, the sheep, the chickens, these are living sentient beings with brains and hearts and eyes, and yes, they're different species to us, but they're bought and sold as property, and their needs and wants are put aside for the needs and wants of the owner, the person that owns them. As a society, we can stand together, and that's what I'm singing. It's not your property. One day we'll be singing freedom songs together, united, all of us, saying we're not going to own these living beings as property anymore. I mean, that was where I was coming from. But then the second one is human family, so that's where
It won't belong to standing together.
and that's where I'm sort of singing
Yeah.
about how the human slavery is still ongoing today. And as a society, I think we have to question the fact that we're living in this capitalist society, and the way that works is to have some people at the bottom so that other people can have everything. So we're living in these rich Western countries where everything is available 24 hours a day, whatever you want, and yet there's people living in other places, in slums and in sweatshops, and they have no quality of life at all in order to produce the things that we have in our throwaway culture. You know, buy a t-shirt, or throw it away in a few weeks because I'll just get a new one, it's only £2. You know, it's definitely those themes of slavery.
I remember thinking it also with all the climate activism and stuff going on in the protests. I remember you writing that and thinking it resembled like the earth is no one's property as well.
Oh yeah,
and that we're standing together as guardians of the earth one day, and that consciousness will flower towards us not even being able to enslave each other and the planet. You know, it'll just, you know, it's utopian, isn't it? But you know, just
because
this
people will literally buy and sell parts of the forest. They'll chop the trees down. They'll destroy the habitats of hundreds of birds. And same system where human beings think that they're entitled to own it with a piece of paper that they've written it on. That's all that it is, a little piece of paper with a deed written on it. And I think, we need to have far more respect for not only our living environment around us, the plants and the ecosystems that the animals live in, and obviously the animals and our fellow human beings. Just need to have, I think that line, "It's not your property," is really an important one.
Yeah, and so the second verse inspired you to write the chorus. So they went like that. And then the first verse was from an older song, wasn't it?
Yeah,
We are the
that's right.
beggars
We are
with
the
the mind to
beggars.
congeal. And that whole first bit was from a song I wrote, I started writing maybe 10
Way
years
back
ago,
when.
yeah.
I remember you used to play it on
Yeah,
guitar. I remember you used to
and
hang
it was
out
like
at
going,
Harry's.
it was totally different riff and everything, and that really worked to this, and we wanted to do something with that, didn't we? And then it worked in context, but then I added the Plato reference, you know, of the analogy of the cave.
Yeah,
What's that called?
From Plato's Republic.
Yeah, Plato's Republic. Yeah,
Great analogy, and you think about these
the
philosophers
shadows on
talking
the wall.
all them years ago
Yeah.
about how to control societies and how to control your own consciousness in a way, and it makes you think that they've developed on that so much that the idea that there might be a group of people wanting to control the way that the world is run, it's not that absurd at all, because you read Plato's Republic and you see that people have been speaking about these ideas of how to manage society for a very long time, haven't they?
Yeah, they really have. Men have.
Yeah,
White
because
men.
women weren't even considered citizens when they were writing those words. Considered the foundation of Western philosophy.
Yeah.
And women aren't even citizens.
Yeah.
But the allegory of the cave is a really great one. You can go and read about it on the internet.
And then the third verse was written specifically to finish off the song. I was just just felt the need to expand it. The second verse didn't seem to say enough for me after the first verse. Of
It's
course.
actually a great version on our album when it cuts to
Yeah,
that bit. It's
yeah,
all the
yeah.
drumming, isn't it? All
Yeah,
the
yeah.
music cuts out and it's Alex doing it a cappella with the drums. It's a great bit.
Yeah, my brother Sean on the, I think I can't remember how many drums he's playing on this song, but
Many drums.
It drops a really nice percussion, sort of like beat poet style third verse, doesn't it? Where it's a cappella or stabs on piano.
And you're playing on piano, aren't you?
I'm playing piano on that.
I
with
don't
the
know how
bass
you
riff.
even transfer it to accordion. That's amazing.
I literally just said, should we try Freedom Songs with accordion violin? And
I
you're
don't know
like,
how the hell
all
you do that.
And then I'm just like having a
and then he's doing all them words
a moment
as well.
with my mind where I'm trying to
that did take quite a few
stay
takes
in the
to
flow.
get it, but we got it.
It did. Took quite a few takes today.
Got
But
it.
we got it. We got the strawberry
And
take.
Zaya stayed
as we
asleep
call
like
it.
a legend.
Yeah, he did. And so the song is got a few references from other songs. The strange fruit plagues our market landscapes, animals caged, the rape rack breaks. I've actually tried to weave in the inspirations from the song Strange Fruit that Nina Simone does a cover of. And it's a really sad song about the lynching that went on after the abolition of slavery. There was lynchings, and like in America, the Ku Klux Klan started
And
up.
just the idea that the beautiful humans hanging from the tree,
strange.
dead,
They call it strange fruit.
They call
yeah.
it strange fruit because it's sort of hanging from this tree.
Yeah.
And it's a really sad song. Actually,
is,
it's
actually.
it's an incredible analogy, and it's really
Yeah.
sad. You put that in there, and then about the poplar tree.
That's in Strange Fruit's lyrics as well. It goes right back to Plato's Republic, where they doing the different systems of blood, like gold blood, silver blood, and whatnot. And today we're being pitched against our skin colours, and it's visible to us then, because I mean we all have red blood, we all have hearts. There's far more similarities between us as a human race than differences, and even so with animals, we have more in common with animals than not in common with them. So to talk about our own human race as if we were different, and that unfortunately they did it. The science of the day justified the transatlantic slave trade with science that deemed those slaves that were predominantly from Central and West Africa as as lesser, is it how does Bob Marley say it, as inferior,
yeah. The idea that one race could be inferior to another.
Check out Bob Marley's song War.
Yeah.
He's taken the lyrics from an incredible speech at the time and put them to this wonderful song called War. Check that out. Yeah.
And even just the term different races kind of implies that there's like different types of human being, as if we're not all one human race, and the idea of racism being the idea that one race could be considered superior to another. All of that language sort of stems from this disgusting idea that these types of humans are different or better than these types of humans, and it's just such an appalling past, isn't it? It's terrible.
Because it's difficult to take responsibility, isn't it? But ultimately, where we're from in England, they had a massive hand in that slave trade, and today cities like Bristol, London and Liverpool, literally the foundations are of the slavery and all the
wealth that was brought into them cities from selling human beings, all that wealth that they made, they then built these giant mansions and these huge massive buildings and giant statues to themselves.
Just feel really grateful to be living in a time where slavery is illegal, for humans, and we can't take that for granted.
The idea of the word freedom, it's actually become a little bit cliche somehow, hasn't it?
Yeah,
like
I guess
freedom loving hippies and stuff like this, but actually our freedom to do what we want in this life,
our autonomy,
to have our own autonomy over our own decisions is so important.
The protest can never go to sleep, really. We'll always be challenged for how much we want to be autonomous, because there's this innate want in certain systems to control, and some of that control is just like organizing chaos, whereas some of it goes too far and becomes enslavement. I mean, with the slave trade, it just went to the extreme too far. Like, you can't get any more extreme than that. Whereas today, like, with the trying to passing of legislation in the UK to like be able to control the right to protest to the point where it almost undermines the point of protesting.
Yeah.
That all people have to do is push back. Like, that's literally what we learned from the civil rights movement, the women's suffragettes. You know, all these incredible moves just showing us just push back. So there's a quote from Tupac: "Change the way we eat, change the way we live, change the way we treat each other." Like, Changes by Tupac just blew my mind as a kid, and I learned the piano piece when I was in high school, and friends used to rap Changes. I never actually had a go at rapping and playing piano at the same time then. Took many years later, but yeah, that was I just loved that part of Tupac's Changes, the way he did that little spoken word bit in the middle about the way we change the way we eat, change the way we live, change the way we treat each other. I'd just like to say a massive thank you to Sparrow, our mate, who gave us this accordion last winter, not the one just gone.
Thank you,
and
Sparrow.
it turned red on our journey through Europe as well. I'm sorry about that, Sparrow. But yeah, it's amazing. It's a 24 bass accordion, and I've never played before, but my keyboard knowledge allowed me to just get going on this side.
So natural at it.
And
He
on
just
this-
walks around the streets with it, playing it.
On this side, it's like, thank you so much. On this side, the rhythm's not in the bellows, the way they move. It's actually in the fingers like that. Oops. Look. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So it's all in the fingers. And that's a line of basses, a line of majors, and a line of minors. You just. So I go bass, minor, bass, minor, bass, minor, bass, minor, bass, minor,
While
bass,
rapping a million miles an hour.
What's
as
this
well.
time? What's this time? How can I not beat this time? What we find is yeehaw. I love it. It's so amazing. So thank you so much, Sparrow. You're an absolute legend.
If you do have any questions about any of the lyrics in the song, please ask in the comments below, and we'll get back to you and let us know what you think. And if you enjoyed the song, feel free to pop a quid in our virtual hat. And thank you again to our incredible patrons for making these videos happen. We love you guys. And if you want to become a patron of our channel, please check out the link below, and we'll see you next time.
Grassroots Sessions is made possible by our wonderful patrons who support us on Patreon. Thank you so much to all of you beautiful beings.
Please join our Patreon today to help us create more videos. Donations are also very welcome here.